Welcome back to the Jason Flood Digital Marketing Show. Today I'm joined by Katrina Coogan, founder of Tree of Light Holistic Therapies, based right here in Kildare. Katrina's journey into holistic healing began in 2005 when she experienced the powerful effects of energy work firsthand. What started as a personal path to self-discovery soon grew into a deep calling in supporting others, and by 2010, Tree of Light was born. Through her practice, Katrina offers a wide range of therapies, including reflexology, fertility and maternity reflexology, oncology and palliative care reflexology, as well as nervous system regulation grounded in polyvagal theory. Each session is designed to bring calm, connection and emotional balance to those she works with. Her approach is deeply compassionate, creating a safe and nurturing space for clients to reconnect with themselves and find peace within. You can explore Katrina's work at treeoflightholistic.com, a site I designed using WordPress and Elementor, which now ranks highly on Google for her key therapies. I also had Katrina run a Facebook ad campaign that performed brilliantly, generating quality leads on a tight budget. All of Katrina's social media links and contact details are included in the description below of this podcast. So, let's get into it. Katrina, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Jason, and thanks for having me. And also, thanks so much for the great work you have done for me in the past. It's a pleasure to be on.
Well, it was so easy to work with you, Katrina. The thing about Katrina is that if I say I need A, B, C and D, Katrina will send me A, B, C and D. So the collaboration aspect of your project, we just worked so well together. We were so in sync. And that's what led to the success of your website. treeoflightholistic.com ranked on page 1 on Google for multiple terms very, very quickly too. Katrina runs her own website. I just want to say that too. I created the website with the same approach that I created Cecilia's Wellness with Cecilia, who's on last week, where anybody can create a great website, but the business owner needs to be able to run it. And Katrina is doing that successfully. And I'm very, very excited about all the things Katrina is going to be doing in the future. I strongly recommend checking her out. But today, we're going to be talking about the services Katrina offers. What kind of brought her into holistic healing. Because Katrina, you can really talk to me about this. I think you really need to have a passion for this field, don't you? Like, this isn't something you just join just to make money, like in digital marketing. Definitely 100%. There's a lot of people who say, "Oh, this is great. I'll make money from this and just do social media posts for people. It's easy and they don't last." So when it comes to you, it's the passion that really fuels this, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, Jason. Yeah, I think it's a vocation, I suppose, in a way, and it's something that you have to very much be committed to. And I think it's most importantly as well to be committed to yourself and your own growth in order to be able to, I suppose, hold a space for the growth of others. As you mentioned, I started Tree of Light back in 2010 now. But I suppose before that, even my own experiences would have began with like anxiety and overwhelm. I was struggling with these symptoms, kind of like burnout, I suppose, restlessness, feeling disconnected. I guess at the time I didn't have the language for it, but like now looking at it, it is nervous system deregulation, which is what I'm kind of really focusing in my business in the last while. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. I suppose my backstory is that I would have gone through quite a difficult time myself, and having gone and got the experience of getting Reiki done and reflexology and regulating myself and learning about my body and reconnecting with myself, and brought me to such a good place, I suppose, and led to such a personal transformation for myself that I just went and studied in those modalities then. To eventually start the business, just to bring the support then to others and to their healing. So yeah, that's the backstory of Tree of Light.
I love how unique your approach to the business is. You're talking about the nervous system regulation, and from working with so many people in the wellness field, you're kind of putting a different approach on the whole thing. Like when I was designing your website, you were very it was very, very personalized. You really worked hand in hand with me, where some people are just like, look, I offer this service, I offer this service, I offer that service. You have an identity with your own story, and you've kind of attached that to your business when it comes to the nervous system. And I really think that's made you very unique in your field.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, particularly polyvagal theory, which is what was my most recent course that I would have studied around the nervous system. It goes into kind of the key, the three kind of key states, I suppose, within the system, which is, you know, the common one, I guess, that everybody knows is the fight or flight. So that's your sympathetic. You then have freeze and shut down, which is your dorsal vagal, and then you have your safe and social, which is your ventral vagal. So again, it's all about knowledge. And I know it's very cliche that saying knowledge is power, but I very much believe that it is, because the more knowledge that you can gain about yourself, the more power and control you can essentially have over yourself as a whole. So that being physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So I just feel that it very much empowers. I think one of the things with scaling my business I've learned is it's great. The one-to-one sessions are fantastic, but people need to be educated. So there's no point in me bringing somebody in and charging them money and throwing them up into the table and doing the work that I need to do and then sending them out the door. I'm very much about empowering them while they're here. So giving them the tools, discussing what's happening in their body, making them aware. And in doing that, it then gives them better control over themselves essentially, and how their mind works, and being able to link the mind and body. And yeah, it's just fascinating. I suppose it's something that I am so interested in these things myself. And then when I see them actually come into play with people, and see when people discover their nervous system and how to work it, the difference that it can bring to their life is amazing. So it's fascinating. It brings me a lot of joy actually every day to kind of, and even just being aware myself of my states throughout the day. What state am I in now, and how can I shift from that state? Is that the state that I currently want to be in? How do I move up that polyvagal ladder to get me to that ventral vagal safe and social space? So yeah, it's super interesting. I think it's a totally different angle. I like the fact that it's scientific based as well. So it was actually an American psychologist called Dr. Stephen Porges that came up with the polyvagal theory. So it's kind of science backed as well, which I think it just allows people to kind of rationalize the whole treatment more as well then. So yeah, it's super interesting.
And I absolutely love the fact that you're not only talking about the services you offer when it comes to holistic healing, but you're also speaking about it as a business. So
Mm-hmm.
what you said there is one of the most important things I want people to take away from this podcast in terms of business advice, is that knowledge is power. Katrina and myself, we're both kind of students of the game, I'd like to say, where we're both constantly learning, we're constantly reading books, learning online any way we can learn to improve our business, to, you know, really provide the best possible service we can to our clients. And that is something I tell business owners all the time. Katrina's in my Kildare business support group, which if any business owner in base Kildare would like to join, let me know. And that is something I always say, you have to keep learning. Like, every day really is a school day, Katrina, isn't it? It never
For
stops.
sure. Yeah. And it's important too, I suppose. It is, again, going back to the typical saying of practicing what you preach. But there, you know, for me to be at my best and functioning at my best, to show up for my clients and hold space for them, I also need to evolve within myself and keep growing and keep learning, and continue to get a better understanding of both myself, but those that I'm working with, and scaling to the, as we said, to the point that I'm able to then offer that more, and in a more international kind of space as well, so that we're not just limited to like that clients from Kildare or clients from certain parts of Ireland, that it can actually be expanded as well more. So yeah, it's important. As you said, continuous learning is a massive part of certainly the business I do as well. It has to be done in order to kind of keep up with new things coming along the road all the time.
And break down to me, Katrina, just because you mentioned internationally, how can people internationally, get services from Tree of Light Holistic? Explain to me the services you're going to be offering from an international perspective.
Yeah, so what I'm hoping to do is support clients more globally through nervous system mentoring. So I'll be able to kind of offer more online programs. Again, I could do one-to-one sessions with them in which we would do nervous system mapping, what's known as polyvagal mapping, where we will map their nervous system and create, get them to understand, as we said, those states I mentioned earlier on, and kind of create a menu to match those states essentially. Um, Also, retreats are going to be something that I'm going to be hoping to expand on. I've done obviously some workshops and stuff over the years, but retreats are going to be a thing that going forward I hope to build both in Ireland and again possibly internationally. And yeah, getting into kind of corporate, I guess, which again would allow not so much online, but again it allows people in the corporate industry, if they haven't got time to come for a session or whatever, that the option is there that they can still do the nervous system regulation, the polyvagal theory, and a lot of the energy work actually online, because even though they're not physically here to get Reiki done, you can talk with people through their energy system as well as their nervous system. And just, yeah, bring awareness in that way, and be there and hold the space in line in that way. But yeah, mainly just online programs, mentoring, and then the international retreats and stuff like that would be where I'm hoping to go with it all.
And explain to me then a little bit for people more locally, like
Hmm.
in terms of the reflexology, the massage,
Yes.
the Reiki, and even say people who would want to book you for a workshop locally for their
Hmm.
business. Explain to me a little bit more in detail about those services, one by
Yeah.
one.
So originally the business started as very hands-on work. So the Reiki, the massage, the reflexology. As I said, I quickly saw that people needed more ongoing holistic support. So again, that's where it went more again onto the online. But for one-to-one in-person treatments, yes, the sessions are usually about an hour. So you're getting all of what I kind of said to you with the online stuff. But yeah, you will get a personalized, tailored kind of treatment plan to yourself. So if you come for your first session, be that for Reiki, reflexology, massage, um, we do a consultation form. We discuss kind of what you're hoping to achieve from the treatments. And then obviously I kind of create a treatment plan for each individual. So I tailor it to each individual depending on what they need and what I feel will work best for them. And obviously what they want themselves. Um, so then, yeah, you get your session, which is usually very relaxing. So either the massage, reflexology, and Reiki, all very, very relaxing treatments. But they also go back to the nervous system. So essentially, what you're doing when you're relaxing the body through Reiki or massage or reflexology is again stimulating the nervous system or relaxing it, depending on what the needs of the nervous system are in that moment. So again, when you strip even all of those things back, again, you're still hitting the main kind of those main energies and those systems within the body. But I also would specialize in, for the reflexology, then I specialize in maternity, fertility, oncology, and palliative care reflexology as well. So I would work a lot around those areas and offer those services in various areas throughout Kildare as well.
And I think even from a social media perspective, it's going to be fantastic to see you kind of get the personal transformations that your clients would have undertaken under you, because I know the pride you take in your work
Hmm.
is reflected in the high quality of it. Has there ever been an experience for you, because of what you do I find is very, very personal? So I look forward to seeing you doing a podcast set and talking to a client and them speaking about the benefits of working with you. Has there ever been a moment where you were like, I have to get in this field, I have to do this? Is there a moment in your life that pushed you towards it, where you felt like you had a need to do it?
The line of work I currently do.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So again, kind of going back to the start, as I said, my own issues, I suppose, before even getting into this, I would have suffered a lot with like insomnia, anxiety, nervousness, feeling just disconnected in myself. And I guess, was totally disconnected from myself, and wasn't aware of it at the time. So I would have gone and got the likes of, as I said, these treatments done myself. And it was kind of my main kind of light bulb moment, I think, was when I first got my very first Reiki session. Um, it was like something just changed in me. It's just things made sense. I just relaxed. I just felt that I reconnected with my body again. I just felt more grounded in myself. I felt not so alone, I guess, as well. It was that kind of somebody understood, or I wasn't the only person that felt that way. So that was a huge, I think, point for me. And just, yeah, I don't know what, I can't say exactly what it was, but something certainly changed in me the very first time I've got Reiki done, and it just grew from there. I just knew that I've always, I suppose, naturally been a very kind of caring and empathetic and compassionate person. It's just in my nature. And I think I always would have, if it wasn't exactly this, I always would have worked with people in some way. I was actually thinking about, when I first left school, I was going to study psychology, um, which I obviously ended up not doing. But and I'm quite happy, actually. I didn't do it in the end, because I wouldn't be doing what I do now, which I absolutely love. But everything for a reason, I guess. But yeah, that would have been kind of the main reason. It was just, I saw the impact, and felt the impact and transformation that it had in my own life, and I just wanted to be able to create that space and learn as much as I could about it. It was almost become addictive when I first would have kind of opened the doors to all of this. I guess I just completely submerged. I was eating books. I was constantly, which was good at the start. But again, you have to have balance in that as well, and just take what's relevant to you from those things. But yeah, I just completely submerged myself in it at the very beginning, and still continue to do to a point now. But that would have been the main kind of turning point, I think, to push me into just doing that. I always wanted to work for myself as well, I guess. I just never felt comfortable working for anybody else in the jobs that I had previous to starting my own business. So it was just always something within me that I just wanted to do life on my terms, I suppose, and work on my terms. And I've been very blessed that I have the opportunity to do it that way.
So it was your desire to be an entrepreneur, and then it was the transformative session you had in Reiki, which
Yeah.
really pushed you into this line of work. And then you're, as I said, you're a student of the game. So the more and more knowledge you acquired from your courses and from the practical end is really what brought you to the dance. And I think, it's very, very important to say that. Like, there's a lot of people who can easily enter these fields, but are they really qualified to be doing things like this? You are. And it's even like me. I actually mentioned with Cecilia, who was on last week, about how there's a lot of people who can enter in these fields, like, because the cost to start them up is relatively on the lower end.
Yes.
So you have a lot of people who enter, and I just think with wellness too, you have a lot of people who enter, and they're probably not really up to it. And it's hugely transformative. Like, I had a breathwork session that I couldn't believe the effects of it, and as you were saying with Reiki, it's so personalized what you do. So I think that's why you are so successful, because your personality, your approach to the business as well, where you have to really create that comfortable space, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. It's all about safety, Jason. I mean, there's, it's very true that it's very hard to heal in any form unless you feel safe to do so. So, it's about, as a practitioner, I suppose, as you said, yeah, anyone can, I guess, train up in this line of work, but it's not as straightforward as that. It's not, this kind of airy fairy space that you step into and you get to be all, happy and content all the time. We're still humans, and we're still living, obviously, human experiences as well. So we're not just because we're doing this line of work doesn't mean that we're immune to bad things or anything happening. But I think, yeah, it's coming from a place of integrity it's hugely important, and we're just staying true to yourself. Is the most important thing, and that can lead to the real transformations, not only for yourself but for the people that feel held and safe within that space that you've created, and that allows them the ability then to connect back in with themselves, because it's very hard to connect with yourself or even the outside world if we don't feel safe. And what I mean by that is, if you feel a threat of anything in life, the threat of just kind of living life, if you get an email and you feel anxious opening it, answering a phone call, going outside, they can be small little threats, so it doesn't always have to be big threats. But yeah, it's creating that space so that people don't feel under threat all of the time, because it's always rushing and racing. A lot of the time we're in that fight or flight space, so it's allowing the body to go back into rest and digest, and sitting within yourself and connecting in that way, I think is hugely beneficial.
And I feel like we did a fantastic job of really portraying that in the website, so people know what you're all about, and what you offer, not just the services but the personalized approach too. Your website performed very well from an SEO perspective. You're ranking very well. We've contact forms, we've individual service pages, and we've a lovely, lovely look on the website. We also did, you were actually lucky, Katrina. I remember we were working on something one day. I think it was based on the website, and then I had a cancellation. So we actually did an ad, a very quick meta ad to run on
Yes.
Facebook and Instagram with a very, very low budget. And you got a few leads, and I was actually raging because I was like, I'm paying triple of you of what you offer. You got 4. So I remember we were sitting down in the River and Road Cafe in Newbridge, which I
Yeah.
recommend everyone checking out. And you were showing me the results. We were looking at it together, and I said, "Good God Almighty, I'm paying triple, not getting half them," because of the nature of it. So you're doing amazing, really, online. You've
Yeah, no,
taken the
it's been
bull by
great.
the horns. But in terms of your social media, that's what I'm most impressed about you now. You're pushing your own social media. You're telling your story. What I just want to know, what do you think was your biggest difficulties in terms of pushing your business online?
Yeah, so initially, I guess, Jason, it was when I first started the business, as I said, back over 15 years ago, that kind of online presence wasn't so much there, particularly not, or especially not in the line of wellness and stuff like that. So, I suppose I never really had to do it. So it was kind of, for me, it was to push myself out of my safety comfort zone, and kind of put myself out there. As I said, I've been very blessed. I've always kind of, my business was very much built on referrals. So I've never really had to advertise or market myself or put myself out there in that way. But I just kind of figured over the last year or so that there was a huge area and again market that I wasn't even touching on or reaching because of just, staying in that comfort zone and not putting myself out there more. So I found, just even through working with yourself and kind of, opening up more to the idea, I suppose, warming up to the idea of just using social media in general. It's not something, I'm going to be honest with you, Jason, that I hugely enjoy in general. Anyways, I'm not a big social media person, be it for my personal life or for the business. So it's been a bit of a journey on that end of it, just kind of getting comfortable with putting myself out there. And I suppose, to be honest with you as well, some of it was vulnerability, if I'm being honest. When you start to put yourself out there more, you do leave yourself a little bit more vulnerable to critique or criticism or any of those things. But again, that was something that was for me to kind of have to work through and get my head around why was I feeling that way, or whatever the case was. So yeah, no, I'm certainly, now that I've began the process and I'm doing it, it certainly feels that there's a better flow to it and it's more comfortable for me to do it. So yeah, I think it's just like that, continuously learning and continuously just trying to get better myself at using the platforms that are there and utilizing them to the best of their ability for my business.
And I love that because in the beginning of the podcast, you were talking about how, like, it's not just about you doing your service, it's about educating your clients too.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something I did with you in terms of the website design. I was like, look, we're going to do your website design, it's going to look good, you're going to be fully trained on it, it's going to be highly functional, you've nothing to worry about. It's more about the education. It's more
Mm-hmm.
about me teaching you what you need to do when this is all done. And I'm so proud of you, how fantastic you've been doing. You've taken the bull by the horns, and it's not easy. It is. People don't realise how hard it is to even just have a picture of yourself online in terms of social media for your business and doing videos and stuff. For me, I had done it for years. I was a content creator for years before I was a digital marketer. So it was easy for me, but for business owners and people just starting out, it's very, very difficult. And I think you would even agree, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So look at you now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just listening to people, getting guidance, getting help, and yeah, just kind of figuring out myself what I'm comfortable with. So, finding that happy medium. Okay, if I'm going to be on social media, what boundaries are in that for me, and just remaining again true to myself within that, as in only really posting what feels true to me or what feels right, rather than just doing it, I guess, as well for the sake of it. But certainly, no, it has got easier. There's more of a flow to it, and once you kind of get used to it and get into the habit of it, it's not as overwhelming as it was at the very start, which is good and it's positive.
And Katrina, do you have anything coming up you'd like to share with the audience? Do you have any big projects coming up? And do you have anything you really want to push?
Well, again, Jason, yeah, it's mainly just, again, really the retreats and stuff like that. As I said, I'm from actually the website as well. You would have created a link there that people can sign up for my newsletter. So even just for people to connect on that, there's going to be kind of a lot of information and tools and techniques always sent out on that, and a lot of knowledge-based tips that people might find useful. Going forward on the website as well, I will be updating. So when I do put into place a plan for the retreats and so on, it'll all be going up there, I guess. And yeah, going forward, I suppose into the autumn, I'm going to be hopefully just doing a lot more workshops and retreats and building that online presence more and just getting myself out there. In the immediate term, there's nothing in particular coming up just right now, but as I said, for updates or anything, they can go to the website treeoflightholistic.com and keep an eye out there for any up and coming events that will be they will be put up there.
Amazing. And contact Katrina directly. You can also contact treeoflightholistic@gmail.com, as well as the website, as she said, treeoflightholistic.com. All those links, guys, are going to be in the description of this podcast, social media, and the website. As I said, can't say enough great things about Katrina. Like Cecilia, she's someone who I had the pleasure of working with, and she is, as I said, and I know I keep saying this, really taking the bull by the horns, because it's the best expression I can think of.
Yeah.
As it pertains to just doing it. Just, I'm going to do this, doing my social media, have my website done. I have the mechanisms in place, but then it's up to you really to push it, and you're doing that, and you're doing it very, very successfully. So I really, really suggest everyone go follow Katrina, and definitely do the newsletter. A lot of great tips in there. Katrina, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on. One last thing I'd like to say about Katrina is Katrina, I actually booked her in to do the podcast a few days ago, and Katrina is actually unwell. She was up all night ill, and she still came on the podcast this morning. So I just want to applaud her for that. A lot of people wouldn't have done that, but Katrina, extremely hard working, and as we all know, when it comes to a business, when you're on one man, one woman show, it's all on you. So I think that hard work is really what got her to this level, and what's going to lead to her to continue to grow with the business and online. So Katrina, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Jason, thank you so much, and again, best of luck going forward yourself. You're doing amazing work, I know, around at the moment. So yeah, it's a pleasure and great to chat with you as always.
That wraps up today's episode of the Jason Flood Digital Marketing Show. A huge thank you to Katrina Coogan from Tree of Light Holistic Therapies for joining me and sharing with me her inspiring journey into holistic healing. If you'd like to learn more about Katrina's work, visit treeoflightholistic.com or check the description for her social media links. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jason Flood, and I'll see you in the next episode.